And I'm trying the tactic that I tried against Ocon with Schumacher, because you guys can see my rears are 50% and over, the fronts are 40% and over, and these tires do not feel good. We open up DRS, it's gonna be 3-1 heading into the first corner. There's Leclerc's front wing, you can see it from the outside of my cockpit into the Turbocharged 51 over here. I hope you're having a splendid day wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to Turbo Fox Racers and welcome back to F1 22 Driver Career Mode. Our road to glory, driving for Williams Racing alongside Alexander Albon. Now guys, heading into this episode, we are heading towards my favorite track on the calendar, and I am very excited for this one. I would be lying if I was saying I am not. We are heading towards the Azerbaijan Grand Prix around the Baku City Street Circuit. There's only 3 tracks in the world that I would put above this one to be my favorite, but that will be a video of another day. For any case, guys, it is a reasonable break between our previous round and this one. So we've got a few stuff to do on the R&D. We can't do anything on the facilities because it's not my team, but a little bit on the R&D and just seeing what we can get going for ourselves. We are so close to overtaking Aston Martin, but every time we feel we get close, Aston Martin and Lance Stroll are just like, okay, here's a few million, pump in a few upgrades for Vettel and Stroll. You know, so the more I try, the harder it seems to be getting, but it's fine. We've got the under tray on the chassis side of things for the weight reduction, or is that the weight redistribution? I did not watch there. But in any case, whatever the case may be, we are ready for this episode. And guys, obviously, you guys know after our previous reality check, I want to see if I can get points again here around Azerbaijan, because the one thing that is going for our car is a strength at this track, and that is straight line speed. With this car of ours having the Mercedes engine in the rear, it is not a lazy boy McGee in a straight line. So the first and third sector, I hope we can be decent, but we're going to have to try and lose as minimal amount of time in sector 2, because that is clearly going to be our weakness. But nevertheless, let's see what we can get going for ourselves. You guys see we still have 1,000 resource points now that our weekly resources has come in. We've purchased a major rear downforce upgrade, so I'm looking to go for the major front downforce upgrade. But then also there's a lot of stuff on the engine that I would like to get done as well. We've had some supply upgrades arrive from Mercedes for the engine's reliability. But for now, we're sticking to our guns. We're keeping the 1,100 resource points, as we have a 1 engine upgrade that has come in, and that to me is all nice and dandy. It's the fuel injection system for engine power, which we will definitely be using for this coming weekend around the Baku City Street Circuit. Now guys, heading in towards this episode, now you guys know we have been riding the luck train so far this season, except for the previous round in Spain. We had a little bit of Spain without the S previous round, but hopefully our luck can restart again, because I would love to get some points, even if it's only a P10. That will be all nice and dandy with me, as we've now got a chassis issue here that we need to attend to. So you guys can see it's a charity that asked if we can, maybe come see them and do some charity work. But then we're going to miss a very important team building for the chassis department. So I think this one I declined because...
Thank you.
Pleasure. Because for this one, obviously, guys, because our chassis is so weak, the better chassis morale I have, the better the upgrades will be and the quicker they'll come in. So that to me is very, very critical. We have to be on the side of the chassis team. And now for this little video, you guys can see obviously there is a Pirelli hot lap challenge with one of the supercars. I think we're driving a McLaren today, if I'm not mistaken. No, we're actually driving my favorite supercar of the lot in the game, which is the Ferrari F8 Tributo. And we are doing an average speed challenge at the hardest part of the circuit. You guys can see I have a little bit of a moment there as I just take millions and millions of dollars and just smash it into the wall. So okay, this car's not maybe millions, but the repair work might be worth a few million. But I think this is another run that I actually did it properly, guys, where I didn't make any mistakes. But this, I have to say, guys, not that I'm a massive fan of the supercars and the F1 life in this game. I much rather prefer the vintage cars, or even F1 maybe giving us F3 cars along with the F2 cars. But the supercars, I have to give them credit for trying something new. That I'll give it to Cody's at EA. And the supercars can be fun. They can be fun, but it's still not vintage cars or maybe F3 cars. Hopefully that's a plan in the future, because that would be a sick career mode, going from F3 to F2 to F1. That would be phenomenal. But you guys can see the AI bins the car at the end of the run. But we literally get, it was just a point few of a kilometers an hour. We did it with 29.23. But yeah, now heading towards the performance shot before we head into qualifying. You guys can see Ferrari are still fairly well in the lead, with Red Bull P2, Mercedes getting ever closer to Red Bull, as Red Bull have maybe brought a minor upgrade or one major for this weekend. So they stretch away from Mercedes a little bit, but never count out Mercedes, AMG, Petronas. Alfa Romeo is in P4. With McLaren, Haas, and Alpine scrapping over P5. P8 is now Aston Martin, as they have jumped AlphaTauri. So like I said at the beginning of the video, we see that we are just going to jump them, and then Lawrence Stroll is just like, here's a bunch of money. Upgrade the car. So we are now trying to catch AlphaTauri and not Aston Martin. But Spain has been the only round this season so far where we haven't gotten points. So hopefully that streak ends. But I think the next round, Canada, might be another one where we're just like, we don't even sniff points because the AI are so strong around Montreal. But we will worry about that when we get to next episode. For this episode, it is time to head to qualifying. You guys can see, obviously, practice is done. We've got almost 1,600 resource points. So at this stage, I wanted to check if there was any fancy discounts or maybe an upgrade we can go for, which this weight reduction on the engine cover is a big one, because our car is heavy and very draggy. So I wanted to try and push it to get it in before Silverstone, but it's a 45% failure chance. So I'd rather just go for the standard upgrade. It's a 27% failure chance. That is a 1 out of 5 chance of it failing. So I'd rather be safe than sorry and have it after Silverstone. And then ready for, I think it's the Austrian Grand Prix, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't check the flags right there quickly. But that is a major upgrade that's coming towards the car. And you guys can see we've got an aero upgrade, 2 engine upgrades, and a chassis upgrade on the way. So things are still looking good here at Williams, but it's time for quali. So jumping straight into Q1 here at the end of our first flying lap. You guys can see her going through this flat out left-right S. And you guys can actually see I've got one of the Ferraris tailing me. Now I think it's actually Carlos Sainz. But that throughout the lap, oh no, sorry, it's Leclerc. He started the lap so close to us that he just sat in our slipstream the whole lap through. But luckily it was not a main lap, it was an out lap for Charles. So we didn't give him too much time, maybe just on the main straight. But now we jump towards the middle of our second flying lap. And you guys can see we are currently sitting in P20. So there's a lot of work that has to be done to this Williams to actually have some good pace in qualifying. And obviously I know you guys know I'm not the best qualifier. I am a Mr. Sunday instead of a Mr. Saturday. I prefer the races. But the thing is, I need to work on my quali pace, but the car itself does not have very good one lap pace. We come across the line for the end of our second lap, and it only puts us P17, right behind Sergio Perez and Lewis Hamilton. That's a bit scary. And coming towards the start of our final lap in qualifying, guys, look above us. We are still P17, but the two Red Bulls are Perez is in the knockout zone, and Perez, what the heck? Perez is the one in the knockout zone with us, and Verstappen is in the danger zone. He is the next driver to be knocked out if something doesn't happen, but it's clearly that we just saw Verstappen go across the line on the minimap, and something must have worked there for him, because Hamilton is now down in P16. I don't know how these top teams are struggling so much. Ferrari seem to be having a Saturday breeze as they are just enjoying themselves. But they're heading towards through the second sector, where this car is an absolute boat because of how heavy it is and of how terrible its aerodynamics are at this stage. We go through the castle section. I actually have a beautiful run through the castle section. And now we go back into the sector where we will be strong, sector 3. We're not in it yet, but this part of the track towards the line, we will be stronger than the few teams around us, because we do have better straight line speed. But it's corners like this that I just have to absolutely just yeet the car into and hope it sticks. Because the front end washout on this car, it feels like a MotoGP motorcycle. Sometimes the front end will just not turn, and it's as if the car washes out like a motorcycle. So to get setups for this car is a pain in itself. But we're trying our best, and now you guys can see it's the end of our lap. We open up DRS, head towards the line, and I hope and pray that it's not P20. We come across the line, and it's going to be I think it's 20. Ferrari take a 1-2, Mercedes 3-4, but where are the Red Bulls? Okay, we're not in last place, we're in P19, but clearly there was something going wrong for Sergio Perez. He must have done some sort of naughty things, as he is out with a disqualification, and Verstappen is in P15. This is going to be an interesting race.
Good afternoon and welcome from Baku. This was the arena, if you think back to 2017, of one of the most eventful races of modern history, with controversy behind the safety car, last-second overtakes, and a historic podium for Williams and for Lance Stroll. Let's find out what lies in store for us this year. It's time for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Baku's city circuit then. It's an unpredictable 3.7-mile track around the streets of the Azerbaijan capital. 20 turns for our drivers to navigate today, including the infamous Turn 8, one of the tightest and most challenging corners of the season. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's Carlos Sainz in pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Hamilton, Russell, Valtteri Bottas, and Norris, Schumacher and Fernando Alonso, Ocon, Zhou, Sebastian Vettel and Tsunoda, Verstappen, Stroll, Alex Albon, and Pierre Gymkhana, and Sergio Perez completes our grid. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box. Ant, it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the rundown into turn 1, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
Sitting in our Williams machine, the itsy-bitsy spider of the F1 grid so far. But guys, we have been the ultimate underdog so far this season. Now, guys, I'm playing around here with the strategy, just trying to figure something out. But I'm going with my usual so far with this game. I'm going for the hards to the mediums, because there's really no point. We've got nothing to lose. We're outside the points. We need to try our best to get something going for ourselves. But with Baku being a high degradation circuit, it's not going to be the easiest thing to do. So I did think about a 2-stop, but it's about 10 to 15 seconds slower, depending on what 2-stop you take. And the softs last barely 6 laps around this track. So the 2-stop was really not an applicable option. So we are just going to try our best to see what happens. But we are on P19, Perez is in P20. And for the first about 10 laps of this race, we're going to be pretty slow because we're on the hard tires, not just because our car is slow. but we'll have to see what we can do. The formation lap starts. You guys can see how I smoked the tires at the back of it as I...
Stay in formation and start bringing the car up to temperature, please. Get some load into the tyres and work the brakes. We want them nice and warm by the end of this lap.
Thank you very much, Mark. But yeah, guys, that was a bit of an oopsie from my side. Luckily, Perez ghosted. But we were so far behind, I barely caught up to the back of the grid. I was more focused on warming up the tires than catching the grid. So I made these guys' tires cool down maybe a little bit, and I overshoot my grid slot as well. But in any case, we're P19. Perez is going to overtake us quickly, so there's not really a point. But now we head to 5 red lights, and it's go, go, go for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. It's a Ferrari front row lockout with Mercedes heading up the second row. Into the first corner, it's 3 wide between Hamilton, Sainz and Leclerc. And I think it's Sainz that gets through all of them. Sainz leads the way from Hamilton, and Russell has jumped Leclerc. Leclerc is down to P4 from pole position. Lando Norris is down to P5. Well, he almost got Leclerc for P4. I think he's up into P5. I think Lando qualified P6 behind Bottas. But oh, my great googly moogly. That was insane. That was absolutely an insane start. What a start from Hamilton and Russell as they bully Leclerc down to P6. But Sainz also got a phenomenal start on alongside his teammate, and he just made sure he let Charles know he was there. And Sainz is also still in this championship, so let the boys fight. You can see heading into turn 1, I just have the dive bomb of the century as we go side by side with Verstappen and my teammate Albon. And Verstappen has a little bit of a swerve there that puts me off a bit. And it's now 3 wide between myself, Tsunoda, and Guan Yu Zhou. Now it's going to be a drag race towards the next corner. But I thought my car was going to have good straight line speed, but the Alpha Tauri and the Alfa Romeo are just like, no. But luckily, I am more confident on my brakes as I nearly run into the back of Ricardo. Oh, that was close. Now it's me and Joe side by side into the middle sector. We give Joe a little bit of a squeeze, and that is us up another position. Obviously, guys, as soon as the Red Bulls start coming through, I will let them go because we are not in the same race as them. But we now jump back on board with the race leader, Carlos Sainz, as we head through the castle section for the first time. Sainz, Hamilton, Russell, Leclerc, Norris, Bottas, Magnussen, Alonso, Ocon, and Schumacher is your top 10. We've gotten ourselves all the way up into P12, which is still not points, but considering how the car feels on this first lap, that might be the best result we can hope for. But this is the Baku City Street Circuit. Safety cars are a near definite around this track, so we will have to see what happens. There's still a long way to go. We've still got just over 25 laps to go. But let's head down this little highway stretch in real life. But for this weekend, it's a racetrack. As we'll see if Leclerc can get close to George Russell to have a move. Well, to get a move done into the first corner. It's Mercedes v Ferrari. It seems like we're back in 2018. But here we go. Russell defends the inside. Leclerc goes to the outside. Will it be the young gun at Mercedes or the golden boy at Ferrari? Leclerc tries a move around the outside. And will he get the move done? He does. And he is back up into the podium positions. So it's a checkerboard of Ferrari and Mercedes for the top 4 so far. As we've got Lando Norris and Valtteri Bottas battling away for P5 at this stage, which is best of the race. Magnussen and Alonso are trying to get in on the fight, and even there's a little bit of fighting going on behind. But Bottas goes to the inside with Lando trying to move around the outside as Magnussen and Alonso has got nowhere to go. But at this stage, Norris defends the P5 that he got at the start, and Bottas at P6. You can see we've broken away a bit from Vettel. It's just under a second. But him, Zhou and Tsunoda, and obviously Verstappen are not going to be long until they sniff my gearbox oil. But now we go to the end of lap 2, and Leclerc is boxing? I didn't see that he had contact with Russell. Does he have front wing damage? Because this does not make sense. I didn't see any contact, and it doesn't look like his front wing has damage. But there go the tires, and yep, it's clear he's got a front wing change. It's a terrible camera angle, and the replay even jumps. But guys, I can confirm, Leclerc and even Perez had a front wing change. We now head to a replay between Bottas and Lando Norris. Into the first corner, it's Alfa Romeo v McLaren. Never thought I would say those two F1 teams in the same sentence. But here we go. Lando still defends from Bottas. He's defending beautifully. And Bottas takes an awkward line into T2 and puts himself under pressure now from Kevin Magnussen and Fernando Alonso. Here we go. Magnussen goes to the outside, but Bottas blocks him off. as Magnussen has a bit of a jolt at the steering wheel. Oh my word, Bottas locks up and sends Magnussen into the wall. Magnussen is without a front wing. What happened? Oh, was this Alonso's fault? Was Alonso a naughty boy? Yeah, he was. He actually tapped Bottas on the rear, and through that, Bottas got startled, locked up, and headed into, he headed into the wall. And you guys can see now, Codemasters, can you guys please patch this, Codemasters and EA? Because the stupid safety car glitch is back. So now that Magnussen has pitted, and I think somebody else pitted as well, we are elevated to P10, so it's points, but now there's a stupid safety car glitch is on again. And guys, at this stage, I know I'm supposed to sit behind them, but
back, mate. We're under safety car conditions and you can't overtake. Return the position.
like I said, guys, I know we're not supposed to overtake, but this was so frustrating that I just decided, screw it, I'm passing them.
Okay, we've got a drive-through penalty. That's a drive-through penalty for overtaking under yellow flag conditions.
Okay, guys, so I know I've just given myself a drive-through penalty, but look at it the my way. So first of all, this glitch is the most irritating thing in the world, and the reason I overtook Schumacher, Ocon and Ricciardo was out of frustration. So we can't serve a drive-through penalty under safety car. So we're going to serve it now as the safety car is coming in. But I was just refusing to sit behind these guys for no reason. So Schumacher will jump us, but we will come out ahead of Ocon and Ricciardo. So instead of P10, we're going to have P8. Because this glitch, honestly, or this bug, whatever it may be, is the most frustrating thing in the world, and it can really just ruin a race. Especially as a content creator, it takes away so much out of the race. So all I did was dive into the pit lane at the end of the safety car, just serve my drive-through, because I couldn't do it under safety car. So Schumacher will come flying past us as we just cruise through the pit lane at 60 kilometers an hour. But here comes Esteban Ocon. He's only going underneath the DHL board now and at the start-finish line now. And I think we are already out of the pit lane. So there we go, we are out. Ocon is only at the first corner now. So we are sitting pretty in PA. Him, Ricciardo and Verstappen have just gone through. So now we've got a legitimate reason to fight for these points, because there's no point in just sticking behind all these slower cars and then that just ruining my race. So we now look at Leclerc in P16. Sergio Perez is still in P20. That's just sad. And Verstappen has gotten himself all the way up into P11. So there's a lot that can still happen. And remember, Verstappen and Leclerc are the main boys we are looking at for this championship. But Leclerc gets past the Aston Martin of Lance Stroll, but Stroll goes for a massive dive up the inside into T2. But I think that is just Stroll being a little bit of a dummy, because there's no point in fighting the Ferrari, as Perez is just stuck behind Magnussen, Gasly and Vettel. And it's 3-1 between Vettel, Gasly and Magnussen! That's very close between the three of them. But Magnussen gets the better of the Frenchman and the Dane. Of the Frenchman and the German. But Sergio gets around the outside of Gasly, so Gasly is now in last place. But we now look at the end of lap 8, and you guys can see Ocon, Ricciardo and Verstappen have already caught up to me. Ocon is going for a move here because DRS has been enabled once again. So Ocon, well, not yet, it's actually activated on this lap, the start of lap 9. And Ocon draws side by side with us in the Williams. We defend the inside line. It's a beautiful defensive move. We just make sure we make sure that Esteban knows he's got the minimal amount of space. As Verstappen actually got past Ricciardo, and Leclerc is in again. Oh, he's getting off his soft onto the hard. So he's now going to the end of this race. Hopefully he's trying to get that car into clean air and just push like an absolute madman to try and get points. So once again, it's myself, Ocon, Verstappen and Ricciardo who's battling here. But you guys can see, into the final corner, I actually let Ocon go. But this is me doing some 300 IQ plays, because obviously I know the Williams is decent in a straight line. So why not make it a little bit more decent and have DRS and still defend from Verstappen and Ricciardo? But now we can actually attack Ocon. But Verstappen sees this and he's just like, nah, dude. I will fight you. I want to get past you. And it's 3-1 heading into the first quarter. We cut off the nose of Ocon and go around the outside of Verstappen and actually defend the position. I actually left Verstappen more than enough room on the inside because I thought he was going to go for the move, but he just backed out of it for some other reason. So we keep P8, and this part I was not going to let Max go because he actually goes very much to the inside. We squeeze him to the inside, and it's very close. Max has lost his front wing. What happened there? Did Max hit the wall or did he hit me? Let's have a replay of this, guys. Please don't tell me there's a second safety car. Around the outside, Max hits the wall. Now, I did leave Max enough space, but it was literally the bare minimum. So, Max is now going to need a front wing change. And I think the safety car has been deployed again. So, everybody on their mediums are going to box this lap. And this puts me in a very tough position that we've been in earlier in the season as well. So we start on the hards. Now we need to pit, otherwise we're going to be in the lead, but we're going to have to pit in a few laps to get on the mediums, and we'll just fall to last place. So we are boxing to get off of our hards and onto mediums, and hoping and praying these mediums will last 16 laps around Baku. And that is a very big ask. So we are really we're throwing the kitchen sink at it and hoping for the best. Hopefully the safety car doesn't glitch again as we just run over some Aston Martin crew there. Onto the mediums, out of the pit lane we go. And we need to hope and pray these mediums last, guys. 16 laps, it doesn't seem like a lot, and I know 2 are going to be under safety car. But that's a big ask with Season 1 cars. That's a very big ask with minimal tire wear upgrade. I don't think we even have. I think we've got 1 tire wear upgrade. So it's going to be a big ask. But as you guys can see so far, the safety car is not glitching. So I hope that it doesn't glitch at all. I'm trying to catch the leaders before we come across the start-finish line, because it seems that as soon as you come across the start-finish line after 1 lap of being under safety car, that triggers the glitch. So I'm trying to catch these guys before we get to that point, and I'm trying to take everybody behind me with me. So, but at this stage, your top 10 is Sainz leading the way from Hamilton. Norris has gotten himself up into P3. What? Then it's Russell. Alonso is up in P5. Bottas is still in P6. Schumacher, myself, then Ocon, and Leclerc's fourth back up into P10. So guys, as you guys can see, luckily, the safety car has not glitched. The safety car bug has not reared its ugly head. So everybody is bunched up, and hopefully we can have this race in now. The final 14 laps under green flag running, because that would be the best possible thing. But everybody has line astern, and it's all up to Carlos Sainz when he decides to put his foot down in that Ferrari, and we go back to green flag running. But you guys can see I'm on fresh tires. I need to use these tires while I can. As Schumacher gives me a bit of a fright as he's slow on the reaction time of the restart. But we have the fresh tires. We can be late on the brakes against the Schumacher and Bottas. It's a double dive up the inside as we get the 2 Ferrari-powered cars. We are up into P6, and now we need to try and stick with Alonso, as he's going to definitely be following the 2 Mercedes, the McLaren and the Ferrari in the lead. But guys, I just don't think we've got the car to stay with them, but we're going to try. Because P6 will be wonderful points after Spain, where it was Spain literally without the S. It was just pain beyond compare to know how slow this car was. But through the middle sector, you guys can see we get towards the end of lap 14, and Alonso has already broken 1.4 seconds to us. And now here comes Charles Leclerc, who's going to be putting Esteban Ocon under pressure for P9, because obviously Leclerc would love to get to me and maybe even Alonso, although I highly doubt he's going to make it to Russell, Norris, Hamilton and Sainz. But you never know. Crazy stuff could happen as Leclerc and Ocon go side by side, as well as Bottas and Schumacher. And the more these guys battle, the more I smile, because that means I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna drive away while they battle without end. And the 2 Red Bulls of Perez and Verstappen are still outside the points. Perez P13, Verstappen P15. We now come towards the end of lap 15, and no, there's yellow flags, and Max is going slowly. The car puffs out some smoke, and as if Max's day couldn't get any worse, the defending champion is out of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. And Sergio Perez is the only driver flying the flag for Red Bull now. But it's clear that Red Bull are struggling for pace and struggling to overtake here around Baku, which is weird, because the Red Bull is quite slippy in a straight line and it's very decent in the corners. So I do not understand why Perez is struggling so much, but you never know. He might even have a car issue. You never know. But you guys can see we are still sitting pretty in P6 as Bottas and Schumacher are still battling for P7. But now they've got Leclerc who's joined them. So it's 3 Ferrari-powered cars. There's a piece of front wing just flopping around in the first corner. But it's now Schumacher, Bottas, Leclerc. Will we have another 3 wide moment into this next corner? I don't think so. I don't think Leclerc is close enough. But he's closing up very, very, very clearly. But here we go. Bottas is on the inside, Schumacher on the outside. Leclerc, Ocon, and Ricciardo are just sitting there because they can't do anything. As Magnussen seems to have made a move on Perez now. Perez has boxed again as we head to lap 18. He's in P19. It's honestly a day to forget for Red Bull. But now, at the end of lap 18, you guys can see Schumacher has caught up to the rear of me. And he is trying to make the move. We duck into his slipstream, almost blast all our battery. And into the first quarter, we go right around the outside of the harsh driver. We just keep it within track limits, but we defend our P6. And guys, with 7 laps to go, even though these tires of mine are starting to feel very second-hand, as Schumacher, I'll talk about the tires in a second, guys. Schumacher takes the most awkward line through T1. He breaks Bottas' left front end plate, and Bottas is going to have to pit at the end of this lap. So, but out of spite, Bottas is trying to make the move on Schumacher. I'm not going to complain because this gives me more breathing room. Because Bottas, if he overtakes Schumacher like it looks like he's going to do now, up to the inside goes Bottas. He's just going to hold these guys up. He's just going to hold them up, and I'm going to be smiling all the way to the bank as Schumacher has a massive switch of oversteer there through this very tight middle sector. But now Schumacher is under pressure from Leclerc. Guys, this is not a place to go side by side as Leclerc thinks like a wily old fox and backs out of it. But Bottas is into the pit lane with that front wing damage. And that's one less lap that I needed to be in panic mode. But now once again, it's Schumacher and Leclerc behind me. Then comes Ocon, Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Magnussen, Stroll, and even Vettel. I mean, okay, so we've got a lot of cars that are smelling our itty-bitty gearbox oil. Perez is in P18. He's the only driver that's got to jump Bottas. It's really been a day for Red Bull to forget. I don't think they will ever want to look back at this Grand Prix within our career mode. But now, guys, we jump to the end of lap 21, and Lando Norris has done brilliantly to keep this Mercedes of Russell behind him. But these two cars are just in different postcodes of one another. And finally, Russell gets the move done on Norris. And we have a little bit of a replay here onto our POV, well, looking at our race, as Schumacher and Leclerc are busy putting me under severe pressure for this P6. But guys, P6 will be such good points where I've got to defend with everything I've got. You guys can see, I swap from the inside to the outside to try this outside move around the outside of Schumacher. We get it done, and we open the door for Leclerc. Will he go around the outside of Mick Schumacher? Here we go, there we go, come on. Who's got DRS between Leclerc and Schumacher? It doesn't seem like one of them is using their DRS. Oh, it's Schumi. Okay, Leclerc's got DRS as well because he's behind me. But I mean, it didn't seem like they opened their front wings very quickly. But Schumi tries to go around the outside of Leclerc, but it's unsuccessful. So now we've got this Ferrari behind us. But guys, unfortunately, Schumacher did re-overtake Leclerc, but I unfortunately missed the overtake, so I do apologize. And guys, at this stage, I was starting to get desperate. We've got just about 3 laps to go. And I'm trying the tactic that I tried against Ocon with Schumacher. Because you guys can see my rears are 50% and over, the fronts are 40% and over, and these tires do not feel good. We open up DRS, it's going to be 3 wide heading into the first quarter. There's Leclerc's front wing, you can see it from the outside of my cockpit. Into the first quarter, who's the bravest on the brakes? We pinch Schumacher, he backs out of it, and we defend from Leclerc, but he's still there. Into T2, I brake early to try and make the corner, but I still leave Leclerc more than enough room. We get the exit, and we maintain P6. But Leclerc is not going to leave this just running. But now he's under pressure from Schumacher again. Who's going to get the Schumacher or Leclerc? But Leclerc is just quick on he's later on the brakes than Schumacher. But he's got a very awkward run through T3. And Schumacher goes up the inside of the Ferrari. Oh, and he has what is it with Schumacher today and that little twitch of oversteer? Because that is not helping his overtakes, well, his defense/offense. But you guys can see now, myself and Leclerc have broken away a bit from Schumacher. But I mean, this Ferrari in a straight line is an absolute bullet. It's almost impossible to keep him behind. But he gets past us. We dive into his slipstream, and now we are using our ERS, and in a straight line, this Williams is proving himself to be a formidable foe. Into T1, we have the inside, and we just keep that Ferrari behind us. Guys, there's less than 2 laps to go. We need to try our best to keep this Ferrari behind us. I know I'm interfering in the championship now, but I mean, I'm driving for my own team, and every little bit of points is going to make this team a more formidable foe in Season 2. So every point we can make, we need to try and get it. As we are now at the end of the penultimate lap of this Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and we will start the final lap. Now the leaders are already on the final laps. We have DRS on Leclerc, but here comes Schumacher. What is it with these two and myself today? They don't leave us alone. Schumacher gets ahead. We're ahead of Leclerc. We go to the outside, around the outside of the German. Will we get the move done? Yes, we do. Schumacher is now down to P7 with 1 lap to go.
Good job. Nice overtake.
Thank you very much, Mark. But guys, we've got 1 lap to go. And remember, that final back straight onto the main straight is so long. If we don't figure something out here, Schumacher's up our inside. We are late on the brakes. We nearly hit the wall. But Schumacher is still there. Leclerc snooping around. And look at the train behind us, guys. I've been defending so much. There's literally a train behind me, probably all the way down to P8. Yeah, all the way down to my teammate in P17. That is quite scary. But Carlos Sainz, there hasn't been much action at the front for this race, guys. After Leclerc broke his front wing, Sainz has just been dominating this Grand Prix, even with the safety cars. Hamilton and Russell could do nothing about the Ferrari, but Carlos Sainz will win the Azerbaijan Grand Prix from Hamilton in P2 and Russell in P3. It's a good double podium for Mercedes. And Lando Norris in P4. Take a bow, my guy, take a bow. That's a brilliant performance for McLaren, considering at the start of the season, that was the 3rd worst car. It was just above us on Aston Martin. Take a bow, Lando, take a bow. But you guys can see here, it's literally the final sector now, and Schumacher is right there. I can't take the chance of letting Schumacher go, because then Leclerc will just double slipstream us and steal P7. It's side by side through the flat-out A section. Schumacher was desperate to get ahead of me. I don't know why he didn't just wait for the DRS, but he compromised himself and has given us enough room to come up in P6. Leclerc can do nothing. It's P6 here in Baku.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
It's never an easy race here in Azerbaijan. There's drama around every corner, but they've come through to take a brilliant victory here today. And talk to me. What do you think it was that sealed the win for them?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
Here come our winners now, a thrilling race and a tremendous effort by Ferrari. Their history is well known, so it's no surprise to fans the world over to see them come out on top once again. After this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. Carlos Sainz manages to take control of the championship, securing the top spot with today's points. Let's focus on the driver of the day, Anthony Davidson. Who do you pick?
I have to give it to O'Connor. They demonstrated a very delicate touch in close proximity to other cars, as well as showing a lot of maturity and patience in difficult situations.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Ferrari continue to extend the gap at the top of the table. There was also a strong showing from the McLaren team today as they make their way up the standings. It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action, and I can't wait to see what's next.
Neither can I. Neither can I. Guys, Carlos Sainz takes back the lead of the Drivers' Championship. He leads the championship now with 12 points from his teammate Leclerc. Verstappen third, 16 points behind Sainz. And Perez is starting to look a bit doom and gloom for Sergio. He's 30 points behind Sainz. But there's still a lot that can happen in this season. The only two drivers to still score points in this championship is Vettel and Albon, my teammate. But guys, there's still a long season to go. We're not even halfway. We're still two races away from being halfway. But we are still fifth in the constructors. Obviously, Alpine overtook us the previous race. They are now in P4. And we are 15 points ahead of Haas and 17 ahead of McLaren. But if McLaren has the pace that Lando showed today, it's going to be a tall task to keep them behind us for the rest of this season. But next, we are heading towards Montreal for the Canadian Grand Prix. And guys, I think just like Spain, that's going to be another harsh reality check. Honestly, I think it's going to be a tough one. But we'll have to see what happens. We don't know what's going to happen yet. Maybe we have a crazy race again. You never know. You never know. But guys, looking at this championship, I think it's going to be an interesting fight between Sainz, Leclerc, and Verstappen. Honestly, I think those three are going to be like bulldogs being released off of their leash. Those three are going to be fighting. And if Perez gets himself into this championship, we are going to see fireworks come here around Belgium, Italy, Singapore, Brazil, and Abu Dhabi. It's going to be incredible. But guys, it's time for the highlight of this race. And I'm not going to lie, if it wasn't for the safety car glitch, I probably wouldn't have gotten points today. But you know what? Hopefully this glitch and bug gets sorted out rather late than never. But honestly, this has to be addressed because it ruins races. Honestly, it does. And it takes away so much of the fun factor in this races. So please, Electronic Arts and Codemasters, please patch this issue. It can't be that big of an issue, but seriously sort out this glitch/bug because I'm on the verge of crushing a real life bug just because this bug is irritating the bugginess out of me. But in any case, guys, that's been this video. Don't click off yet. Don't click off. I see you. Make sure to go check out the links in the description down below, guys, especially my social medias. If you did enjoy this video or have been enjoying this series, guys, share this series' playlist or this video with your friends. Tag me in the post or the story on your social media, and I will give you a shout out on my social media as well as in a future video. Also, while you're down there, follow me. Come on, you know you want to. TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you know, I'm there. Go hit the follow button, you crazy turbo nutcase. And then guys, if you did indeed enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like down below on the video. I would highly, highly appreciate it, guys. You guys have no idea how much the likes help to show my channel to other people that don't know about us. So besides sharing, like the video, because trust me, it's going to help this channel grow. Guys, we are 1 subscriber away from our next goal, which is 250 subscribers. 1 sub away. Just one. Just one. We need that one. So if you want to be the one that clocked us over to 250, if you are not yet subscribed to this channel and to become part of this family, what are you doing? Hit the subscribe down below and don't forget to ding that bell to never ever miss a future video or stream here on Turbo Fox Racers. Welcome to the family. You are now an official Turbo Natic. Guys, it's been a crazy Grand Prix here at Azerbaijan. Baku always provides, and we'll see this track again, most definitely, next season. But guys, like I said, that's been the video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for staying till the end. You guys are amazing. Thank you for all the support recently. You guys truly are awesome. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Cheers!